What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Drinks with Drea. I'm your host, Miss Drea, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I got a couple things to go over today. You know, I always try to pull from what's going on in the pop culture, in the world, what's happening on the blogs, etc., to get my topic. So a lot of crazy stuff been going on as per usual. So I got a lovely show planned for you guys. But of course, with every Drinks with Drea, we always have to start off with what we're sipping on. And today's drink of choice is a margarita. So typically a margarita is made with some tequila. I personally prefer Don Julio, but hey, whatever you like, whatever your flavor, you go ahead and pour it up. Also, you want to use some triple sec, some roses lime, and a little bit of sweet and sour. Go ahead and shake it up, pour it over some ice. You can garnish with a lime. I didn't have a lime today, so it's garnished with a strawberry. Salud. All right, so I don't know if you guys watch Love and Hip Hop Miami, right? And I'm not gonna sit here and stunt. I do not necessarily care for the show. When I was younger, I lived for the love and hip hop, all of that. You know, the era of it, right? When it started off with Chrissy and Jim Jones and Kim Bella and just the craziness of it all, I lived for it. But as I've gotten older, you know, it's like, okay, how much more of cheating and arguing and fighting and people that's supposed to do music, not doing music, but focusing on every flaw that they have, how long do you really want to watch this stuff? But I had been hearing about this young lady who joined the show with her rapper boyfriend, her rapper husband. And I cannot remember his name, so please forgive me. But her name is Shelah Marie. Now, Shelah Marie and her husband, they're doing something that you don't see a lot on the Love and Hip Hop franchise, right? Like Remy Ma and Papoose kind of represented the Black love thing, but they were very rare for this particular platform because you're used to seeing like the Tara and the Amina and Peter storyline or Ricky Dollars and whoever he's not Ricky Dollars. What is that man? I don't know, Rich Dollars. You're used to seeing the Rich Dollars, right? You're used to seeing the players, the ones that's dealing with one and then they flip to another scene and they're dealing with another. You're not really used to seeing Black love. So seeing Remy Ma and Papoose in their season was very rare and very refreshing. And now seeing Shelah Marie and her husband is refreshing. And they're having healthy conversations, right? They're not having the typical conversations that one person is talking, the other's not listening, two people are combating one another. They're really having healthy, healing conversations. They're really getting to the root of what's wrong. And it's a very much a powerful thing for Black people to see other Black couples demonstrate what it's like to actually communicate. So their presence on this show is very refreshing. And so I've been seeing a lot of people speaking about them up until this point. So recently she went viral because she has a curly, curvy, conscious company that focuses on like health and wellness and healing and mindfulness and consciousness, which is a very beautiful message, especially for a time like now. Everybody's in a pandemic. A lot of people don't know whether they're coming or going. So being with like-minded people to just center yourself and really focus on what's important is very much needed in this season. She does what's called an annual, I don't remember the exact name of it. I got to get better at my research, but anyway, but it's all about bringing Black women specifically together in a safe space to heal, to laugh, to relax, to have joy, something that we rarely have. We rarely have spaces dedicated to us where we can just let our hair down, not feel judged, not have to code switch, not have to put on a certain type of appearance or presentation, where we could just be our natural selves, where we can speak about our hair struggles, we can speak about our relationship struggles, we can speak about everything that we face in the work world and everywhere else without having someone having to say, well, everyone experiences that. That's so dismissive, right? Just like when people say Black Lives Matter and people turn around and say all lives matter, that's just so dismissive. Let's focus on why people feel it's important to say Black Lives Matter. Let's focus on why it's important for Black women to have their own space versus saying, well, everyone goes through those things. So having a safe space for Black women specifically, especially in this season, is so necessary and is so needed. So the scene goes like this on Love and Hip Hop Miami. The three women, Shelah Marie, who is biracial, she has a white mom and a Black father, but she looks, she's a very brown skinned Black girl, very beautiful, very, like, I wouldn't know that she had a white mother until she said it, just based on her skin tone. And that's just me, not knowing a lot about or not being around a lot of biracial people. So she's just caramel, you know what I mean? She looks like she would possibly, if she said she had a Black mom and a Black dad, I would believe her. But she does have a white mother. Princess Love is also considered biracial. She has a Korean mom and a Black dad. And then Neri identifies as Hispanic. Now, the reason I'm highlighting their ethnicities is because, again, Shelah Marie is promoting, I think it's called the Unruly Retreat. She is promoting a safe space for Black women. So she extended the invite to Princess Love because Princess Love identifies as a Black woman, but she let Neri know that, unfortunately, because you are not a Black woman and you don't identify as a Black woman, this isn't the space for you. And I think because of how she said it, or even just the shock of someone saying something of that nature, because we're not used to Black people excluding others, right? We as Black people are used to being excluded, but it's very rare that we would exclude others. That's where this whole concept of you get an invite to the barbecue comes from, you know what I mean? Or you get a pass, because we're always willing to welcome people into our spaces. But Sheila's saying no. My guests, my sisters, they want a space for themselves. Because what tends to happen is when it's a majority of us and a few people that are not like us, it is our nature to cater to other people. So instead of that time being focused on the healing of these beautiful Black women, they're worried about making the few people that are not Black feel welcome. But we don't always get that respect. How many times have you been in a room where you're the only person of color? Not many people are going out their way to make you feel comfortable, but we always do that because that's our nature. So it makes sense to have a space for Black women to not have to worry about anyone else but themselves. Princess Love, being a woman who identifies as Black, felt it was her place to tell Shelah Marie that, hey, this isn't cool. Like, even though this woman, Neri, is not Black, she is raising Black children. And then she internalized the story and said, well, I grew up around my Korean family and they always made me feel less than. They always, made me feel like I didn't belong. She didn't feel that out in the world, but she felt it at home. So she felt it would be beautiful for a woman like Neri, who would be a woman like her own mother, to join spaces like this so that Black women can teach women who have Black children how to raise them. Let me repeat that. Princess Love, who has a Korean mother, and I apologize if she's not Korean, I believe she's Korean, I'll just say Asian. She has an Asian mother. She grew up in an Asian household, and she felt like her mom did not protect her. What the heck just happened? Hold on, guys, technical difficulties. I am not editing that out, but moving along. She didn't feel like her mom understood her journey as a Black girl. So what she wanted, what she would have liked, would have been for her mom to go to a space like the Unruly Retreat so that she could be around Black women who could teach her how to properly raise her daughter. So there's this idea that Black women are responsible for teaching non-Black women who choose to have Black children how to raise their children. I feel like I got to say it one more time for the people in the back. Princess Love is saying that Black women should take non-Black women under their wing to teach them how to raise their Black children. First of all, those Black fathers who made those Black children need to make sure that they teach their non-Black wife how to raise their Black children. You don't use that as a justification for invading spaces dedicated to Black women, because that is not our responsibility. It is not Black women's responsibility to make sure that non-Black women who choose to have Black children know how to raise their own kids. That is not something that you're going to put on our shoulders. Now, would it be dope to have a retreat with women who have children of a different race than their own? Absolutely. Princess Love and Neri can come together, create a dope ass retreat where they come together. They bring all the women like them who have biracial children, and they can relate on that level. But this particular retreat is for the healing, the coming together, the appreciation of Black women. And I don't feel that it's fair for them to ask this woman to have to explain that. Malcolm X said long time ago in the 1960s, the most disrespected, unprotected is Black women. 2 years ago, Jesse Williams quoted the same thing, because from when Malcolm X said it in the 60s to when Jesse said it in the 2019, the same is true even here in 2021. Black women are disregarded, they're disrespected, they're excluded, they're devalued, they're degraded. And someone took it upon themselves to say, we need a space. And they use their resources and their following and their everything to create this thing for women of color, Black women of color. And you can't tell her that she's wrong for wanting to protect that space. And it's also this thing where people, Black women, right? We have to stop feeling like it is our obligation and our responsibility to make sure other people are comfortable. It's very rare, not saying it doesn't happen, but it's very rare that people outside of our culture go out their way to make us feel comfortable. If we see one of ours saying something slick, hey, that's not cool. You in a different environment, someone saying something to you, I don't think they really meant it that way. Look at what Garcelle went through on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills or Ebony K. Williams on Real Housewives of New York. Everything that they're sharing as a negative experience, they didn't mean it that way. Look at the Colin in Black and White. Him trying to explain to his adopted white parents, I'm being othered, I'm being mistreated. They didn't mean it that way. Always being dismissed, always told that no, that's not happening. That's not real. Everybody does that. They're just a mean person. Just dismissing your experience like you're just crazy. No. Black women need space. Okay. I found out the next one she's doing in 2023. I cannot wait. I don't care what I got to do, how long I got to wait. I need to go to that retreat. I need my sisters to go to that retreat because we absolutely need a space just for us. And it needs to be unapologetic. We can't let nobody invade that space because we need our own space. We need to talk to people who have walked in our same shoes, who've experienced a lot of the same things that we experience, that's not going to dismiss us. Well, everybody goes through that. And are going to know exactly what we mean when we said what we said. Okay. So shout out to Shelah Marie. Thank you for creating safe spaces for Black women. Thank you for holding your own. And even when Princess Love, because you know Princess Love, she loved to throw them hands. She doesn't, she has no shame in being grown as hell, throwing her hands and fighting, okay? Shelah Marie was very respectful in how she explained, why, even though she didn't need to explain it, but she was really like being respectful. And she said, well, let me finish. Because while you're expecting me to respond to this, you have to give me space and room to talk. And Princess Love, because it's in her nature to be argumentative and confrontational, she ready to jump in and make her point. which really was no point at all. But anyway, and there was one moment where she said, okay, but you're not going to check me. This is Princess Love. And Shelah just gave that exhausted look that you give to grown women that just refuse to grow up, who loses an argument, who has no point to make. And because that's where they're at, now they want to fight. Now they want to argue. Now they want to make something that's small into a big issue because they feel embarrassed. And that's what Princess Love was attempting to do. But Shelah Marie, sis, she shut that down. Okay, this is low vibration. This is not anything that I want to be a part of. Sis grabbed her bag and walked out the door and left them two biddies sitting there. Salute to you, Shelah. Damn lewd. All right, moving along. So I want to talk about something that I talked about with one of my coworkers earlier today. And it is the concept of toxic positivity. Now, I've heard of toxic masculinity. I've heard of toxic femininity. I've heard the word toxic in general. But this concept of toxic positivity, I was like, wait, what? Because what we were doing was we were relating to the fact that we're both Sagittariuses. And if you're familiar with the zodiacs, you already know your Sagittarius friend is going to be the most optimistic, the most positive, the most, ain't nobody trying to hear that sad stuff. Girl, you got too much good going on in your life. And when you're not wired like that, you think it's insensitive. You think me not wanting to feel bad for you because of what you're going through is being insensitive. But in my viewpoint, I'm not being insensitive. I'm looking at the glass as half full. So no matter the way I live my life, right, and the way I have peace and contentment is by understanding and realizing that no matter what's going on in the world, what's happening in my life, things could always be worse, right? If you grew up in a house, which a lot of people in the hood did, you grew up in a house, maybe it's too many people in the house. Maybe y'all got rodents in the house. Maybe y'all got bugs in the house. That's not an ideal living situation, right? Sharing a bunk bed, just cramped, no air conditioning, like it's very inconvenient, right? But what about the people who don't even have a home to live in? What about the people that are forced to carry buckets on their heads to just get water just to survive on? What about the people, it's no matter what's going on in your life, things could always be worse. So I always operate from a place of gratitude and appreciation and thankfulness. And I get what people say, like, I'm still grateful, but I still have a right to be upset. Yeah, you do. But how long are you going to be upset? I am an avid believer in the serenity prayer. God, grant me the courage to change the things that I can. I'm saying this all wrong. Wait a minute, let me get this right. God, please grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Okay, I'm not going to repeat that because that was a struggle. But yes, I believe in that. Some things in life you can control. And if you can control it, do the best you can to control it. Do your best to change it. Do your best to make it what it is that you'd rather it be. Some things are out of your control. Have peace and wisdom in knowing, like, this is out of my hands. God, I'm going to give this right on back to you because ain't nothing I can do with this. And just being wise enough to know, like, ain't nothing I can do. I'm good. The things I can change, I changed. The things that I can't, I accept. And I'm just going to continue to move forward in my life. I just don't understand what crying about, whatever it is that you're upset about. I don't know how living in it and breathing in it and allowing it to consume you, I don't know how that helps you. So toxic positivity is basically saying, like, you fake, you're always, I know you're going through stuff. I know you want to cry. Maybe I do want to cry. Maybe what I'm going through is a little bit rough. but I'm still choosing to look at the glass as half full. So me deciding not to break down and me deciding not to let the situation define me is not fake. It's a choice. Happiness is a choice. Peace is a choice. You choose whether to be positive or you choose whether to be negative. I personally, and before I say this, I remember a time when I was in high school and this girl said she always laughing. And she had attitude about that, talking about me. And she really didn't like me. And I'm assuming it was because I laughed so much. But I'm like, I'm happy. I'm full of joy. Okay, you mad? You shouldn't be, because you should get some of this laughter and this joy too. But I'd rather be toxic positive than toxic negative. I'd rather be toxic positive over toxic angry. You know what I mean? You know, because all of that does nothing but deteriorate your life. And not only that, what you put into the world is what will come back to you. What you feed is what will grow. So if I'm feeding negativity and I'm feeding anger and I'm feeding despair and I'm feeding defeated, that's going to be my reality. And it's going to stay my reality. But if I'm feeding love and joy and peace and happiness and forgiveness, that too can be my reality. One of my favorite quotes is this, and I'm going to leave it on this note. Life is 10% what happens to you, 90% how you react to it. 10% of your life is what happens to you. Those are your circumstances. The home you grew up in, the parents that you have, the morals and values that you grew up with. 90% is how you react to it. If you grew up in a home that people were poor and violent and crazy, you don't have to become that just because that was your environment. You can go on to become the opposite, and you can go on to be greater. But it's going to be very hard to break away if instead of getting control of your circumstances and controlling the things that you can and letting go of the things that you can't, you want to dwell on it and cry on it, and eventually you're going to become it. Feed the opposite. If you grew up in an aggressive, violent home, feed peace. If all your life you've been told you're not worthy, speak affirmations, feed affirmations. It's up to you. So forgive me if I can't cry with you, because where you see despair and failure and brokenness, I see hope and healing and blessings and a bright future. And I'm not going to apologize for that. So damn blue. I'm not going to hold you guys too long. I wrote down a couple of things, but you know, sister tired. Ain't nobody gonna be up here all night. So I'm gonna talk about one more topic, and we're gonna go ahead and wrap this thing up, okay? Co-parenting, Wayne Brady style. Now I know y'all know who Wayne Brady is, so I'm not even going to explain who Wayne Brady is. If you don't know who Wayne Brady is, Google him. Wayne Brady is divorced. He shares a 18-year-old daughter with his ex-wife. His ex-wife is currently in a relationship with another man, and they've just had a child through surrogacy. Wayne, the ex-wife, the new boyfriend, the daughter, and the baby are all residing under one roof. Now, this arrangement started because of the pandemic, right? Because, you know, you're in order to protect people, the best thing you can do is stay away. And it's best to stay with your people that you're already with every day. So instead of them, you know, having to deal with, well, what point does she come see me and you, and it's unsafe and traveling, they decided to just go in under one roof. And this seems to have been a positive thing for them. You know, they're on TikTok doing videos together. You know, this new baby, he calls himself Dunkle because he plans to act as a dad and an uncle. This is his daughter's little brother, you know? And so that's the role that he wants to take on. Is it conventional? No. Could I do it? No. I'm personally not going to do it, but I understand why they did it. And, you know, it works for them. They're laughing. He says that his ex-wife still runs one of his businesses. He considers her his best friend. He considers her new boyfriend her best friend. It's not a case of messiness, right? It's not a case of this relationship ended because this person entered it. It's none of that. They had their relationship. They loved each other. They raised a family together. It didn't work out. They moved on. Years passed. They kept a good co-parenting relationship. She's moved on. And because of the pandemic, they've decided to go under one roof. I don't see anything wrong with it. It's not an ideal circumstance. The main thing that's important is that you always put the kids first. That's why you're seeing like more and more couples doing this, right? You see Neo and his wife, and they have a good relationship with his baby's mother, Manetta Shaw. And it's good because what does it benefit you to have a child and you're speaking negativity about their mom or their dad and you hate them and it's toxic and y'all can't even be in the same room together? The only person that's really going to be hurt by that circumstance in that situation is your child. So to be able to put the past behind you, to be able to just let it go and move forward and put the kids first is the most mature thing that any co-parent can do. So I applaud them. Another relationship that, and I actually wrote this down, I wasn't going to talk about it, but it fits with this narrative of co-parenting. Alicia Keys and Swiss Beats, who are married. Of course, he was married to Mashonda first. They broke up. Mashonda accused Alicia Keys of playing a role in their breakup. Over the years, there's been a lot of back and forth, a lot of toxicity, but they all decided this isn't helping none of us. So let's stop all this back and forth and this foolishness. Let's start a journey of healing. Let's do this thing together. And they all seem to be at peace because of it. And they're moved on and they take family vacations together. So it's not conventional, but is it the more mature thing to do? Yes. Is it the better thing to do for the sake of the children? Yes. And sometimes you got to get out your own way and put especially the people that you've birthed and brought into this world first. So I applaud it. I think it's cool. I can't say I never do it because who knows, you know, it made sense for them because of the pandemic. The pandemic was not a usual circumstance. So if it worked for them, it worked for them. They happy, that's beautiful. And y'all leave Alicia Keys alone. Alicia Keys, that situation between her, Swiss Beats, and Mashonda was over, I don't know how many years ago. Every time that woman breathe, it's you breathe like that because of Mashonda. Leave that woman alone because you don't want to be defined by your choices 10 years later. So don't do that to other people. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up, child. Again, drink of choice today is margarita. We done talked about the importance of Black women having their own space. We done talked about being positive and not calling positivity toxic because there's nothing toxic about positivity. If you don't have none, you need to get you some. And we done talked about the importance of parenting with the other parent, having peace, letting go of bitterness and anger, and moving the hell on. So I done said all I got to say. Again, our drink of choice tonight is a margarita. Have a good day. It's the beginning of the weekend. Find you something positive and productive to do. How about that? And I'm gonna talk to you guys soon. Bye.